Hi, and welcome to a Drafthouse Diary for Tuesday, July 29th, 2025, when I came out to the Alamo Drafthouse at Littleton's Aspen Grove to see Superman for a second time. That's one of the nice things about the Alamo Season Pass, is that if there's a movie that catches my interest enough that I want to see it again, it's cheap and easy to do so. Now, a lot of the movies for which I'd really like to do that are smaller indie movies that just don't stay in the theater long enough. But a movie like this, it's going to be around most of the summer, and it did catch my interest. It did catch my attention. I enjoyed it very much the first time, and I'm glad I had a chance to see it again on a big screen. One of the things I really like about this is that it fully embraces some of the bizarre science fantasy weirdness that has built up in the Superman lore over so many decades. Most live-action Superman movies haven't really done anything with that. They have been more restrained, and they have fit Superman into a more traditional mold of a hero story. This movie has fun with those parts of the Superman lore. So we get the Superman robots in the Fortress of Solitude. We get Krypto, the super dog. We get a guy who can replicate in his body any element in the universe. We get anti-proton rivers and pocket universes. And all of that makes the fact that Superman happens to be from another planet one of the least weird things in the story, and I like that. And to some extent, that's one of the points of this movie. So I enjoyed that very much, and I hope that other movies from DC, now that James Gunn is at the helm, I hope that they feel that freedom and that they dig into some of the weirder parts of superhero lore. Something else we didn't really mention in the prior review of this movie are the performances. And I think the performances were very good. I think that David Cornsweet was fine as Clark Kent and Superman. He didn't have the pure presence that a Christopher Reeve had, but he conveyed the facets of this character well. He was fun to watch, and he seemed to be having fun with the role, even in its most serious moments. And Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, I think she was perfectly cast as Lois Lane. She is a terrific Lois Lane for the 21st century. And that goes for the rest of the cast, all the supporting roles. Nicholas Hoult, he has demonstrated so much range over so many movies now. He was a good Lex Luthor. All the co-workers at the Daily Planet and the Justice Gang, featuring Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. They flirted with being a little too ridiculous, but they turned out to be a lot of fun. And Ed Gathiti, I'm hoping I'm getting his name right, but as Mr. Terrific, he held up really critical parts of this movie and did a great job with that. One more thing I want to mention about this movie is what I think they very explicitly bring out as a theme. There is a conversation at one point between Clark and Lois. And it comes around to the topic of punk rock. She describes herself as a punk rock kid from Bakerline who questions everything and is suspicious and rebellious. And how he says, well, he's punk rock too, but she doesn't buy that because he sees the beauty in everything and wants to see the positive things in everything he encounters. And he responds that maybe that's the real punk rock. And I think there's a lot of truth to that message. Oh, and speaking of punk rock, the closing credits are over the song Punk Rocker by the Teddy Bears, featuring vocals by Iggy Pop. Terrific song. I'm really glad to be hearing that a lot more lately, thanks to this movie. But there is a lot to be said about positivity being a kind of rebellion, especially today, especially when so much power is wielded by such mean people in the world. Acting out of kindness is about as punk rock as you can get. And when so much of our world is shaped by fear and greed, every action that comes from hope and courage is an act of rebellion. So I think Clark was right. That's the real punk rock. And I think this movie conveys that in a really fun way and an important way. Other parts of my trip to the Alamo. The pre-show was exactly the same pre-show I saw a couple of weeks ago, naturally. So it had lots of commercials, again, that terrific Max Fleischer Superman cartoon. I love those old cartoons. And it started with a Super Pup short, which was essentially a Superman story being acted out by people in animal suits. So I'm glad they included that, but I'm glad they included that at the beginning and had much better stuff later on. And they ended the pre-show really strong with a video essay about some of the weirder parts of Superman lore that this essayist hopes that James Gunn will bring into the DC universe. I'm with him on that. I want more weirdness. This movie showed that it can work. For dinner, I got a pepperoni pizza. Not much to say about that. It's pretty reliable, and it was very good. Well, thank you for joining me for this Drafthouse Diary. I'll be back soon with more. In the meantime, enjoy your movies, and when you do, stay till the end of the credits.